Hello children, welcome back to online class. Myself Mrs. Jyoti, your science teacher for grade 4. Today I am continuing the lesson number 11, force, work and energy. So in the last session we have studied about what is force. Is it not? So can you recall children what is force? Yes? What is force? Force is nothing but it is an effort. The effort we make to what? Push or pull an object is known as force. So force is we make some effort to move the object. So that force, that effort is known as force. And force, it may be either by pushing or pulling. And we also learned that what can force do? Is it not? What can force do? What can force do, children? Yes, force, it can make the object to move. First, it can make the object to move. Then, it can stop the moving object. And it can change the direction of the moving object. And it can also change the shape of an object. So, all these points we have discussed in the previous session with so many examples. Is it not? And we also learned about what is push and what is pull. So pull is nothing but when the force we apply, it makes the object to bring towards us. That is called as pull. So whereas push is opposite. It is in opposite direction. That means when we apply the force, the things move away from us. That is known as push. So all these points we have discussed in the last session. So today in this session we learn more about types of force. What are those types of force? Types of force. Okay. The first type of force that is called as, the first is frictional. What it is? Frictional force. So frictional force, it is also a type of force. So here, suppose if any object is moving, for example, the ball is moving on the floor. So what will happen, children, after some time? If we are not applying the force, then also after moving through some distance, what will happen? Yes, children, can you think what will happen? If the ball is moving on the ground, what will happen? So the ball, it stops, or it stops on its own. If we are not applying force also, then also the ball, it stops on its own. So what makes the ball to stop? What makes the ball to stop? Yes? Yes, that is also a kind of force. That force is called as frictional force. So frictional force, it stops the ball to stop on its own. If we are not applying the force, then also the ball will stop after certain time. So what makes it stop is nothing but it is a type of force that is called as a frictional. It is nothing but the friction. So due to the frictional force, the ball stop on its own. So not only ball, the objects, they can stop on its own due to the friction. What it is? Due to friction. So what is frictional force? Frictional force is nothing but when, I will write first and afterwards I will explain. When two surfaces slide over each other. Slide over each other. The force the force which stops the motion. The motion is called frictional force. Frictional force. So, when two surfaces they slide over each other, the force which stops the motion is nothing but here the movement, is known as frictional force. For example, if you take any, this is or you can take the ball also. So, here the surface. What do you mean by surface, children? If you are moving the ball on the ground, so this is known as a surface. So if it is moving, it will touch the ground, is it not? So two surfaces, one surface is two surfaces. Where are the two surfaces? One surface is the surface of this thing or surface of this ball, that is called as this area is called as surface, and other surface is the surface of the ground, that is the other surface. So there, here the two surfaces, one surface is of the ball or of the any object, and other surface it is the ground. So when it moves on the ground, so suppose if it is moving on this, so here the surface, this is one surface and it is touching here, so that is the other surface. So that when these two surfaces, when they slide, or when they slide means when they rub, when they come in contact with each other, so the force which stops the motion, after some time it stops the motion, that force is called as frictional force. What is, children? The force which stops the motion when the two surfaces they slide over each other, they touch each other. So that force is called as frictional force. So what is, children? What is frictional force? So here we can give so many examples for frictional force. You have to remember that when the friction occurs whenever the two surfaces they rub with each other. So this is called as a frictional force. For example, the best example is like when the vehicles, when they are moving on the road, the wheels of the vehicles they are touching the surface of the ground. So there also the friction is caused there. And you have to remember, children, friction is, it depends upon the surface, whether it is low or it is less or more. So the friction, it depends upon the surface on which it is moving. For example, if the surface is smooth, the friction will be less, and if the surface is rough, the friction will be more. So it depends upon the surface. If the surface is on smooth surface, the friction will be less, and on rough surface, the friction will be more. So these things you have to remember. The smooth surface, the friction will be less, and on rough surfaces the friction will be more. So one more example. I will ask you one question, children. Do you play the carrom board? Yes, we are playing the carrom board. So while playing the carrom board, apart from we are using the carrom board and we are using the coins, is it not? So apart from that, what we are using as children? What do we use? Yes, we are using the powder also. We are sprinkling the powder on the board, is it not? So why we are sprinkling? Why we are using the powder while playing the carrom board? Yes, children? Yes, to make the surface smooth, is it not? to make the surface of the board smooth, we are using the powder. So it what it happens, it makes the surface smooth and it causes less friction between the coins and surface of the board, so that the coins they move smoothly and easily. So how I mean to say that the powder, what it does, it has already, the board has the smooth surface, is it not? So whenever smooth surface, the friction will be less, and to reduce the friction we are using the powder, so that the coins they move smoothly and easily. Got it, children? And one more example you can give, like the machines and engines. There we are using the grease or oils, is it not, to make it work for the machines or engines. Have you observed, children? So why we are using means to reduce the friction. We are using either grease. For example, if a sliding gate is there, so that has to be greased frequently. Grease, we are applying the grease, is it not? So why means to make it move smoothly, to reduce the friction. We are using all these grease or oil for the machines and engines. So these are the examples where we can say that on smooth surface the friction will be less, and on rough surface the friction will be more. So friction, it is also help to hold the things. So for example, this. So here it is a thing, here we are holding the thing with our fingers. Yes, no? That means we are touching here this object. So here there is a friction in between the surface of our fingers and the surface of this object. Got it? So this, due to this friction, we can hold the things tightly. So friction, it allows us to it stops to slide over this object from our hand, to slip the object from our hand. So friction, it stops so that it can stop to slip the object from our hand, and there is a friction between our what fingers and this object. So this makes us to hold the things. The friction, what it means is, the friction also makes us to hold the things tightly. Got it, children? These are all some of the examples where we can say that the friction, it reduces the the friction, it stops the movement of the object. Got it, children? So this is all about the frictional force. The next one is muscular force. Second is muscular force. So muscular force, the name itself, muscular means it is related to the muscles. So it is a type of force. Muscular force, it is a type of force where we are using our muscles to do the work. That is called as muscular force. For example, you can give many examples, like if you are lifting any object, if you are lifting your bag. So which type of force we are using? We are using the muscular force. Is it not? So for any to do any work, if you are running, so which type of force we are using? We are using the muscular force. So this is the example where we can use the muscular force. For example, many animals, they are also used to carry the things. For example, bullock and camels and yaks. Is it not? So there also which type of force is used? The muscular force is used. Got it, children? So this is all about the muscular force. So muscular force, it helps us to work. Then next one is about the next. It is muscular force. It is using our, we work using our muscles. Is called muscular force. And next one is about what it is? Magnetic force. The name itself, magnet, the force of the magnet, that is called as magnetic force. So here I'll show you one small activity here. So you know already, this one is already carried out in my last session. So these are the magnets, and this one is the horseshoe magnet, and this is the bar. This is the bar magnet. So whenever these are the iron nails. What are these? These are the iron nails. So whenever we are bringing the magnet towards it, the iron nails, they are attracted by the what? By the magnet. Is it not? So this force of attraction of the magnet towards the iron nails, this force is known as magnetic force. Got it, children? What is magnetic force? Magnetic force is nothing but the force of the magnet which attracts the iron nails towards it. It is known as magnetic force. Got it, children? So next one is about fourth one is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force. So electrostatic force, it is also a type of force. Some materials like plastic, they will create some type of force when rubbing on some materials. For example, this one is the plastic comb. Is it not? So when it is rubbed against your dry hair or the silk cloth, you have to rub it with against your dry hair or with your silk cloth. What will happen? So after rubbing the comb on your dry hair or silk cloth, you have to bring this comb towards the paper and it will attract. So you can do this activity in your home. Try this activity in your home. Just you have to take the plastic comb and you have to rub it on your dry hair, or you can also rub it against the what? Silk cloth. If you are bringing the that comb near to the piece of the paper, the pieces of paper, they get attracted towards the comb. So why it is so means it is due to the electrostatic force. Got it, children? It is due to the electrostatic force. So next one is about gravitational force. What it is? Gravitational force. So I think you know about the meaning of the term gravity. What it is? Gravity. Gravity is nothing but the force. It is also a type of force. I'll ask you one question, children. If you are throwing something, anything like a ball or a, for example, this duster or anything you are throwing, what will absorb? It will, what it will happen if you are throw the things? It will come down to the earth. Is it not? So why it is so, children? Why the things were pulled towards the earth? Do you know? Yes, it is due to the force of gravity. That means the earth, it pulls all the things towards it. So this pulling of the earth, pulling the things towards it, it has the earth has a special or the special force which pulls all the things towards it. And this force of earth, that is known as gravitational force. Got it, children? Have you observed, children, the fruits falling from the trees towards the ground? Yes, why do they fall? Without, we are not applying any force there. They are falling on their own. Is it not? Is somebody is pulling the fruits from the trees? No, they are not. They are not pulled. They are falling on their own. Naturally, they are falling. So that means that why do they fall towards the earth? Because that means that the earth has the special force, and that force of earth is known as gravitational force. So gravitational force, it attracts all the objects towards the earth. Got it, children? So this is known as a gravitational force. So what it is? The earth has special type of force. What it will do? To attract the objects towards it, and this force is known as gravitational force. Gravitational force. Okay. So one more example. Can you guess, children? I'll ask you one question. Have you seen the rain? Yes. The raindrops, from where they are coming? From the up, is it not? The raindrops, they are pulled towards the earth. Wow. Is any that force which pulls the raindrops towards the earth? That is also one of the example for the force of gravity. So that means that the earth, it pulls all the objects towards it. So this special force of the earth, that is known as gravitational force. Yes, got it, children? What it is all about? So all these, they are the types of force. So which are the types of force we have learned today? Yes, first one is the, what it is? First one is the frictional force. What it is? First one is the frictional force, and second is the muscular force, and third is the, what is the third type of force? That is nothing but the magnetic force. Third is magnetic force, fourth is the electrostatic force, and fifth one is the gravitational force. So all these are the types of forces. Is it not? So here you can refer the textbook for some other pictures are also given, and small activity for the electrostatic force, that is rubbing the comb against your hair. Okay, and that comb you have to bring near to the pieces of paper, so the papers they attract towards the comb. So this small activity you can try at your home. Got it, children? So this is about the types of forces. I hope you are clear with everything in the today's session. So you have to read the textbooks. Okay, children. Thank you.